So we learned today about what happens when you change the y-intercept of the graph. And anytime you change the y-intercept, that means you're changing the point where the graph crosses or touches the y-axis. Whenever you change that, what it does is it moves the graph either up or down, just depending on what number it changes to. So if f of x equals 2x plus 3 is shifted up 4, what is the new function? So if it's shifted up 4, then what it's changing is the y-intercept. So currently my y-intercept is at plus 3, and if I move that up 4, mathematically what I'm doing is I'm adding 3 plus 4, which is 7. So my new function becomes f of x equals 2x plus 7. And this graph is shifted up 4 because the y-intercept, the plus 7, is 4 units higher than the 3. If f of x equals x plus 3 is changed to f of x equals x minus 1, how is the graph affected? Well, again, if I look at my y-intercept, it was plus 3. Now it's minus 1. So it went from, to give you a visual, it went from being at plus 3 to now being at minus 1. So it went down 1, 2, 3, 4. So my graph shifted down 4. Or we could say that it was translated down 4. And below I have two graphs, and the question says, how was the graph of f of x, which is the red graph, translated to obtain the graph of g of x, which is the blue graph? So what happened to get from the red, or the red is the original, so this is our first graph, and here is our new graph. Well, again, if I look at my y-intercepts, here's one of them is at positive 3, the other one is at negative 2. So if you look at it, you can tell that it went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the graph was translated down 5 units. Lastly, the function f of x equals 25x plus 35 represents the amount of money that Sarah has in her savings account after x months. What was the amount of money she initially had in her savings account? Remember, when we're talking about the initial amount, we're talking about what she began with or what our y-intercept is. What she began with is the same thing as our y-intercept, which in this case is 35. Then it wants to know how would the function change if she began with no money. So what that means would happen is that instead of being f of x equals 25x plus 35, it would be f of x equals 25x plus 0. Because if she had no money, then this y-intercept, what she began with, would be plus 0. If we were to graph this function, what it would do is it would translate our graph down 35 units, because in our original problem she began with $35. Now she's beginning with 0, so she has $35 less, so the graph is going to move down 35.